is Trickster Gaming.
What is happening, adventurers? Welcome to New World, and thank you for checking out this video. Today we're going to be talking about 15 tips to help make your life a little bit easier in Aeternum. So without further ado, let's jump right in. The first tip we're going to start the video off with is finding weapons that suit your playstyle and don't change them too often. There's nothing like buying a new game and you feel like you're not enjoying it as much as you anticipated. So that's why my number one tip is to find two weapons that complement your playstyle. Early on into the game, test out every single weapon, and I cannot stress this enough because there's many different combinations and variations that work very well together. Try them all out, pick which ones you like the best, whether it's melee ranged or mage healer, and stick with it. Learn the mechanics and master the combination. Now my second tip that we're going to be talking about is repairing gear before posting on the trading post. Now, more often than not, I came across an issue where I found a piece of gear that I thought would sell relatively well on the trading post. The one that I want to sell is the Life Staff of the Sage. Now we're going to go ahead and open up the trading post here, and you'll notice that it doesn't show up. Life Staff of the Sage is not here. What we're going to do is you have to look at the weapon's durability. So if you can see here, towards the bottom, we're looking at 1,760 out of 2,000 durability. So what you have to do is repair that piece of item. Now, whether you have a standard repair kit, or if you want to just go ahead and hold the R button and left mouse click, you can go ahead and get that repaired. So let's go ahead and repair this. And we're looking at the Life Staff of the Sage. Now we can see it here and we can post it on the trading post. Number 3 tip, lock certain pieces of gear. Through your adventures through Aeternum, you will stumble across certain pieces of equipment that have a certain attribute that you want to keep. Let's say that you want to keep a specific set that has mainly dexterity on it, maybe something that has strength. And what you can do, instead of accidentally salvaging a bunch of things in your inventory, losing that piece, what you want to do is hover over an item that you want to lock in your inventory. You click on it, and there's a way for you to actually lock it. So you have to hold the L key and left mouse button. So what that does is it places a lock on the item and it prevents you from actually salvaging it by accident. So any pieces of gear that have something that you want to keep on it, you want to make sure that you lock it just so that that accident doesn't happen. And that ties into my number 4 tip, and that is collecting gear that has luck on it. What you'll find from time to time, once you open chests, you loot monsters, that kind of thing, you will find pieces of gear that actually have harvesting luck, skinning luck, and also mining luck. So what you want to do is keep those pieces of gear and, like my previous tip, lock them and gather a full set. Because what that does is, instead of just increasing it by 3.7% harvesting luck on here, if I equip the chest piece and the helmet at the same time, we get 3.7 times 2. So if we have a full set, that increases our chances of being able to actually get rare material. Same thing goes for skinning and mining. So make sure to keep an eye out for those pieces of gear that have that extra luck on it. Number 5 tip, creating gear with mods. When you start crafting gear, whether you're leveling up your blastsmithing, your armor smithing, whatever it may be, let's just say we wanted to go ahead and craft a iron plate greaves right here. So you'll notice we have enough materials for that, and we could go ahead and just hit craft. Attributes would be a medium chance and perk would be a low chance. What you can do is wander over onto this side here, so it says add special resource. So you are able to, depending on what type of class you're playing, or you could be doing it for increasing harvesting luck or anything like that, depending on the charm that you have, you are able to actually make it into a specific way. Let's just say we wanted to add something that has, let's see, wolf blood here, has strength and dexterity, which sounds like it's good for like sword and shield, hatchet, and those type of things. So we could go ahead and put wolf's blood there. And now also notice attributes has changed to strength and dexterity. Now the gem slot is a low chance. What we can do, we can go ahead and put 15 here. Now gem slot increases to very high chance. So from low to very high chance is good, depending on the type of gear that you're going to be making. So keep this in mind whenever you're crafting. Tip number 6, gems to match damage type. So you'll notice through your adventures that you do come across gems, and once you cut them, you want to put them into a weapon that you have found and you want to use it. Now what will happen is you go to click it and it does not work. It tells you gem is not compatible with that item. Now unfortunately the game doesn't go into detail to tell you exactly why that is, but the reason for this is because the elements on the weapon and the gem do not match. Now if you look at the axe that I was trying to put this into, the second trait on there is chain lightning. Basic attack hits trigger a lightning chain that bounces between close targets. Now what happens is the gem we're looking at has arcane on it. So that is the number one reason why we cannot socket this. Now if you look at the staff that I'm using, it does allow it. Notice how the hole gets bigger on the staff. It would allow me to change it because the staff does not have a specific element attached to it. So keep in mind when you're trying to gem your weapons, it has to be of the same element if there is a chain attack on it. Number 7 tip, crafting food, potions, and augmentations before heading out to level. Now more often than not, I've died because of various reasons. Maybe due to lack of health regeneration, lack of damage, or whatever the case may have been. What you want to do to avoid a mistake like that, like dying in the middle of nowhere, is making sure you have food crafted. So this one here, a simple light meal, recovers 100 health per second for 20 seconds. This recovery stops if damage is taken. Afterwards, recover 1% of your health every 2.5 seconds for 20 minutes. So this is a buff that sticks around for 20 minutes. And that's a long time, especially if you're questing in an area that has a lot of quests back to back. On to the second part that I was mentioning, where you can do augmentations and potions. So potions here, you can craft anything from weak potions to common health potions. They're pretty good. If they catch you, you get a couple of mobs that catch you off guard all at once. You just pop one of these and it'll pretty much heal you almost up to full, usually about 3/4 at least, depending on how much health you're missing. And the augmentation that I mentioned as well, depending on the style of play that you are doing. For me, I'm using hatchet as my main DPS, so I have a weak honing stone. So what this does is increases weapon damage by 200% for 0.03 minutes. I don't know why it shows 0.03 minutes, because I'll show you right now. Once you activate the weak honing stone, at the bottom there you can see it's showing 10 minutes. So these are just a small few things that you want to do before heading out to level, because it just increases your chances of survival. Number 8 tip, contribute and participate in corruption runs. So every once in a while you'll notice a message that comes up in the global chat, recruitment chat, whatever it may be, and it's someone looking to form groups to start doing corruption runs. So what you want to do is actually join these corruption groups, because what happens is it's essentially free XP and free gear. It actually works really well, because each of these portals that you close, depending on if it's one of the main portals or one of the secondary portals that open up, they do yield a decent amount of XP. It's also a great way for you to level up your weapons. So anytime you do see them in the group chats, in the global chat, in the recruitment chats, make sure to join them to get some good XP and some decent gear. And on to my number 9 tip. Skin everything. Now, I cannot tell you how many times I see people not bothering to skin the animals that they're killing. You're throwing away free XP and free money. If you see these people dropping these animals and not skinning them, do it yourself. It's free XP. Now, even if you're not going to be using it to make anything, to craft anything, you can go ahead, just pick it up and put it on the trading post. Make some money from it. This is probably one of the easiest forms of XP in the game because you're already killing these animals as it is. So just take a couple of extra seconds and skin the animals. It's decent XP. Tip number 10. Accessing storage sheds from across the map. So as you can see, when we open up the storage shed here, this one we are currently looking at Brightwood inventory. So what we do is storage location, you can see right here. You want to left click that and you'll actually see here anywhere that is owned by your current faction, you're able to actually withdraw or even just view the gear if you wanted to. Now you can view gear from other places as well, but to actually withdraw, so let's just say I want to take something from Everfall. So let's say I wanted to pick up this corrupted sliver. So I can actually go ahead and double click it. Now there is going to be a fee associated with it. I believe it's associated with the weight of the item. So there is a small transferring fee that you'll have to take into account, but it is an easy and convenient way for you to be able to transfer or sort out your inventory across the map. Number 11 tip, roll cancel for faster movement. So for those of us that are actually using light armor, or are at least categorized in the light armor category, what you can do, there's a quick way to actually get around. So if you can see what I'm doing here, normally what happens is when you roll, so you kind of roll, you stop, and then you recover from your roll, and then you start running again. So there's a brief moment where you're actually standing completely still. So I found a way around it, and what you do is you do your roll, and right after your roll animation is about to finish, you hit the X button, which is to sheath or unsheath your weapon. So notice, roll without canceling. Notice how there's that small stop, and now there's a continuous run. So this actually really helps, especially when you're trying to catch up to a group or if you're trying to get somewhere quickly. It's very useful if used correctly. Number 12 tip, loot town supply carts. Depending on the town that you're in and who owns it, you are able to actually gain access to free lumber, free hide, free ores, depending on which city you're in and if your faction owns it. So here, a faction that is part of the Marauders owns the town here, so we are able to actually gain access to free lumber supply cart. So we go ahead and pick it up, and it's a decent amount. Right here we picked up 29 greenwood and 13 forest paper. So you want to make sure that you actually collect these if you're in the area, in the town that is owned by your faction, to go and pick those up because it's free resources. Tip number 13, utilizing the shield correctly. Now there's one error that I do want to mention because I see a lot of people actually making this mistake. If you are not using a sword, please take off your shield because these benefits do not give you anything, especially if you're in a lighter tier of armor. It may be bringing you into a heavier weight load. If you do not have a sword, take off the shield because you do not gain any benefit from any of the stats on the shield because you're never actually taking it out. So the only way you actually benefit from a shield, any shield, whether it's a kite shield, a tower shield, or just a round shield, all of them only benefit you when you're using a sword as one of your weapons. And if you're not using a sword, be sure to take it off because it's giving you extra weight that is completely unnecessary. Tip number 14, read pages throughout Aeternum. I cannot tell you how many people I have seen skipping these and not even bothering with them, but pages throughout the world do have lore. about the whole New World, Aeternum, and everything that's essentially going on in the world. These pages here, when you see them glowing like this, it means you have not discovered them. And to be honest with you, they grant XP. This is literally free XP. You don't have to care for the lore or anything like that. You literally just hit E to read it. It gives you 253 XP for me at this point. And as you gather more and more, they give you more and more XP. So this is literally free XP. You shouldn't be missing out on it. And I would highly advise against skipping them. So definitely read them. You'll see them in shacks, in small sheds, everywhere throughout the world, just scattered. So make sure you literally just take a second to read it. Tip number 15. Set up camp. And I cannot stress this enough. I'm sure there's been various times where you've died in an area and it sends you like 2.5 kilometers or further away because you did not set up a camp. So whenever venturing into an area that's a little bit more difficult, or maybe it's just on par with your level, but you notice that the mob density is relatively high, I would definitely suggest setting up a camp just outside of the landmark. That way, if you die or anything happens, it's a safe spot for you to just respawn instead of having to run all the way back from a town or something like that. If you have a checkpoint somewhere, it's gonna prevent you from having to run all the way back from there, and saves time for leveling. Now, the way you're actually going to go ahead and set up camp, there's a few things that you actually need, and it's not very much, and you can find them everywhere. So what you're going to need is some lumber. So you can go ahead and chop one of these trees down, or if you want to just go ahead and gather some wood from the bushes, you can definitely do that. And one flint. So right here, there's some flint right here. So we're going to go ahead and pick this up. And what you're going to do is, most of the time on a road is probably the best spot for you to be able to actually do this. So the default button for camp is Y. You hold E to apply all resources. Creates it, the flint, and we're good. You go ahead and you hit T. What that's going to do is going to help you go ahead and regenerate your health. And you can go ahead and do some crafting from here as well. So depending on the need of the situation, take a look at what's required and go ahead and create it. And for those of you that watched the whole video and decided to stay till the end, here is a bonus tip. Unlock spirit shrines across Aeternum. Spirit shrines are scattered across Aeternum, but luckily they are very easily spotted. Spirit shrines are going to be your #1 mode of transportation as long as you have the correct amount of Azoth. As you traverse the world, will ensure quick transportation when it's needed. Now, to unlock these spirit shrines across the world, you will have to actually climb up on the platform. Once you see the message that says spirit shrine unlocked, going forward, you'll be able to use this as a fast travel point. So that is going to bring an end to this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed those 15 tips with that bonus tip at the end as well. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and smash that subscribe button to help me out with the algorithm on YouTube. I will be covering more New World content in future videos as well, so be sure to check those out when they drop. Let me know your thoughts on New World so far and what you would change with the game at this point. But that's going to be it from me, guys. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Infamous Trickster, out.
Infamous Trickster Gaming.